Okay, that's what I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we will get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Claggett, for those of you that don't know me. I'm a member of the board of directors of Switch. I'm the past chair, was chair for I don't know how many years. And I've been on the board for well over 15. I think it's getting close to, I think it's around 15 or 16 years. So welcome. I'm also the Associate Dean of Applied Science and Computing at St. Lawrence College. So I would like to get started with some roundtable introductions. So I'll just call out your name. I think that's probably easiest, and then you can introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about your background, your interests, or your occupation. If you're new to Switch, please tell us how you heard about the organization and what made you want to get involved, or why you're interested in today's speaker. John Beard.
Yep. Good morning, all. I'm representing Belleville Emmanuel Residence, which is a social housing project for seniors. The exciting part of it right now for me is that we're currently working with Otter Energy, looking at having the residents go solar. That would be a first, I think, for any social housing project in Ontario. So very excited about that.
Great, thanks, John. Spencer? Once you get, there you go.
All right, good. Been off the computer for so many days, I can't find the mute. Spencer Bardell, EV's Association of Kingston and technician at Cameron Kingston and longtime Switch member.
Thank you. Steve Lapp.
Yeah, I'm retired from St. Lawrence College, where I taught in the energy systems program. So Shannon and I have many years of working together. These days, I'm doing workshops on the carbon reduction benefits of owning electric vehicles and sort of decarbonization in general in society. How would we take Ontario to a decarbonized economy, that kind of thing.
Thanks. Darko?
Darko Matovich, retired not from St. Lawrence, but from Queens. Long-time Switch member, board vice chair. I'm currently sort of still adjusting to retirement and weathering off this epidemic lockdown, but otherwise involved with biomass and for energy and generally for sustainable energy.
Helen? Yes, you. I saw the finger point. You'll have to unmute though. There you go.
All right. Hi, Helene Kommel, Zoom, I'm not here. Switch member of some standing, retired house builder of Passive House, and still interested. My daughter and son-in-law in Vancouver have recently bought a house in Vancouver. Do the math, but they are embarking on a gut reno of this older home, and yeah, they're kind of leaning in for some advice here and there, and it's all right.
It's that slow move to retirement.
That's right, exactly. Thank you.
Gavin? You're still on mute, Gavin. It's the saying of the year.
You can use space bar to temporarily unmute yourself. You just press and hold like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was a member of Switch a few years ago. I'm a founding member of the organization 350kingston.org. And I saw this, I received the email, saw this invite, and thought I'd like to listen to Brooke talk about what St. Lawrence College's plans are. And
thank you. Harriet?
Hi, Harriet Waterman, retired from NRC IRAP. Like Shannon, I've been on the board around 15 years, I think. and very interested in all things environmental. I have an EV, we have panels on the roof, solar, hot water, et cetera, et cetera.
Lisa Martin? Sorry, I got you just as you were drinking.
That's okay. My name's Lisa Martin. I used to work in environmental consulting. Now I run a campground with my husband and live in a rural area north of Kingston on Mazenal Lake. And I'm just really interested in sustainable living, and I've been interested in what I've been learning from Switch the past few months.
Thank you. Rosie?
Hi, my name is Rosie Hyde. I'm the treasurer for Switch at this time. In my day job, I'm the manager for research and innovation services for Stantec, which is a consulting firm. Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you. Mark?
Good morning, Mark Sibley. I've retired from industry a few years back and have been long time interested in the environmental issue and this environmental crisis we're in now. Gotten involved with more environmental organizations as I've had the time freed up from COVID. And for instance, Kingston 350, we're thinking about putting together a bunch of resource links on our website to help people locally understand options for things like where can I buy a heat pump dryer for my clothes, that sort of thing.
Thank you. Lucas?
Lucas Duchesne. I am an instructor in the ESEP program at SLC. I'm also the energy manager for CFB Kingston, where we're taking on a whole bunch of new energy saving rules and projects, especially coming up with the new direction of the federal government and their focus on reductions on greenhouse gas emissions.
Thanks. Steve Isco?
Hi, Steve Isco, retired academic like Darko from Queens and a member of Switch for only 2 to 3 years, but a longstanding interest in sustainability, trying to reduce carbon footprint.
Thank you. Tat?
Hi, Tatiana Zaremba. I am the administrative arm for Switch and get to serve this wonderful powerhouse of board of directors. My pleasure to hear all your news and share with each other. The more we share together, the better our newsletters get. So please forward any of your current news that you'd like to get out. In my day job, I work as a PV specialist for Kingston and the Thousand Islands. Otter Energy is one of the partners I have currently, which is the largest going on in Ontario, I think, right now. So hopping busy with all the announcements and really enjoying farming north of the city.
Thanks. Chad? You need to unmute, Chad.
Yeah, Chad Joshi. I'm president of Advonics International, located in Brockville. We're a developer of renewable chemicals for cosmetics, personal care, lubricants, anything to replace petroleum and keep that petroleum in the ground. We just landed a big partnership with Lubrizol to provide personal care ingredients to their sustainability efforts. And we're ready to now conquer the world.
Okay. Carson? You're off mute, but we can't hear you. Now you're on mute. Okay.
My name is Carson McCula. Sorry about that. I'm a student at Queen's with a strong interest in sustainability. I've been a board member or a member of Switch very short time, just a couple of months. And I'd like to just expand my sustainability knowledge.
Thank you. Caitlin?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Sorry, I was in another window. I'm the conservation officer for Utilities Kingston and former board member of Switch. She's a longtime member of Switch, and I'm excited to hear what Brooke has to say.
Thanks. Rick?
Morning, everybody. Rick Rooney from Quantum Energy. We're a solar company here in Kingston, Ontario. Been in business for 19 years, designing and installing solar hot water and photovoltaic. And I teach at St. Lawrence College, but we're done now. Yahoo.
Thanks. You're done. Paul?
Good morning,
McClatchy?
everyone. Paul McClatchy here, a new board member of Switch. Also a longtime City of Kingston employee. Currently working on brownfields and electric vehicles and the regular old environmental management for the city, including the new proposal by the feds for the Kingston Harbor, which is getting a lot of attention. Yeah, looking forward
Thanks.
to listening.
Okay, thanks. I have, I'm not sure I'm going to say this right, so I apologize. I'm not sure if it's Anatram or just Anatram.
Yeah, good morning. My name is, it's an abbreviation. It's Atma Anandram, and I work with Amoresco Canada. One of my colleagues forwarded me the meeting invite, and I thought the topic was very interesting. So I'm just here to learn a little bit more about the topic and the organization.
All right, thank you. Lisa Barber?
Yes, good morning. I'm the Director of Business Development and Marketing with a company called CEM Engineering. We're based out of St. Catharines, Ontario. We're really in the space, so we deal with cogeneration, energy management, boilers, power generation, district energy, biomass, biogas, RNG, and now hydrogen as well. Not a member of Switch, but a colleague forwarded the invite, and so I thought I would, take part and see what this is all about and learn something new today.
All right, thank you. Welcome. Josh?
Hi, I'm Josh Corral. I'm a engineer at Novellus here in Kingston, producing aluminum coils. I just have a strong interest in sustainability and home building, and I always learn something new here.
All right, thank you. Sho Fujita?
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Sho Fujita. I'm a PhD student at Queen's, and I used to collaborate with industries to produce green hydrogen more efficiently. And right now I'm doing research on electric catalysts for energy storage applications. Then I've been motivated to learn different kinds of clean energy technologies, and I always enjoy to listening a discussion, the lectures in the Switch meeting.
Thank you. Andrew Backus?
Morning, everyone. Former treasurer and current lead on SHOW, which is the Switch Hydrogen Ontario Working Group. So it's myself and Harriet Waterman running about 4 sessions per year, just trying to speak about energy policy and startup technology related to hydrogen.
Thanks, Andrew. I have a Bob.
Bob, sorry, I just joined in late here, but I assume we're introducing each other. I'm an electrical contractor in Kingston, RW Electric, and I've always been a member of Switch and just supporting it.
Thank you. Carol McKay? You'll have to unmute Carol if you're there.
Yes. I'm just an interested participant with a very strong interest in hydrogen technology.
All right, thank you, Carol. Caroline?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, my internet is having a huge tantrum this morning. I'm a recent graduate of St. Lawrence College, and I'm always happy to hear Brooke speak. I'm currently working as a mechanical designer for WSP here in Kingston.
Thank you. Kari?
Hi, this is Kari Gonibulama. I am a professor at Royal Military College of Canada. I am new at Switch, and I'm also a new board member.
Thanks. Michael Oster?
Hi, just an interested new resident of Kingston.
All right, excellent. Vicky has indicated in the chat that she's having some internet issues, so I'm not sure if she can speak or not. I don't think so from the chat.
Yeah, she doesn't have a microphone.
Yeah.
The way she's logged on. Yeah, she's had to drop off and come back several times.
All right, and then Ted, you're I think last.
Okay, so I'm Ted Hsu. I'm on the board of directors of Switch, And I'm the one running this meeting on Zoom. So if there's any, please direct comments at me in the chat, or if there's any problems that you think need to be addressed. Looking forward to seeing Brooke.
Thanks. I just want to note that I want to say thank you to some new and renewing members that we've had since February. Gilchak Holdings Inc., Queen's University, Cunningham, Swan, Carty, Little and Bonham LLP. I think every time I say that name, there's another name added in. And then individual members, Diane Kelly, Olawashina Dada, Emily Sebastian, Adam McPherson, Lisa Martin, Wilfred Sorensen, Andrew Cooler, and Andrew Backus. And some of those are renewing and some are new members. So thank you very much for that. I think before we do sector news, briefs, and collaboration, we'll move into our guest speaker. And many of you had noted that that you joined in to hear Brooke speak. I've known Brooke for a number of years. We worked together at St. Lawrence College. And we have recently approved our sustainability plan, which I think that Brooke was a very, very key point of. But Brooke has lived in Kingston most of her life. She's a St. Lawrence College alumni. She graduated, I know, from the Energy Systems Engineering Technology program. I'm not sure when, but I was at the college when she did graduate. And she's been a long time member of Switch. I know that. I think it was 2008, she said she graduated from Energy Systems. And prior to working there at St. Lawrence College, she was the executive director of Red Squirrel Conservation Services, where she worked with homeowners, builders, and townships to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve efficiencies. She's now the Tri-Campus Sustainability Manager at St. Lawrence College, but I do know that before that, which she did not put in her bio anywhere, she taught in the Energy Systems Engineering Technology program. She was the coordinator of it for a while. Brooke has long been my go-to person when I need help, when I need something, whether she's working at the college or not. She's been a long time go-to person. I also note that she is a Kingston Derby girl, which she didn't put in here, but I did see one of her pictures on the Switch website. So I know that's something that she's proud of, and rightfully so. As the Tri-Campus Sustainability Manager, she's now working closely with all of our departments to implement sustainability related advancements in both our operations and our academics, which is something new, where facilities where Brooke is stationed, I guess, is her home school, and working closely with academics. And I certainly am one that look very forward to that, because we're working pretty closely to try and bring about some more sustainability within all of the college. So without much further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Brooke, and maybe I'll find out something new that St. Lawrence College is doing.
You never know. Thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to be able to speak today. I will share my screen. Bear with me for 1 second. Hopefully that comes through okay.
Yeah, we're neither Brooke or I are Zoom aficionados, so.
No. I am learning as I go on a regular basis.
Looks good.
So, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, Brooke.
Perfect. Okay. I won't be able to see chat, so if there's questions, I'm happy to answer things at the end, or I can generally run things on the fly if people do have questions and things that are very pertinent or whatever, if you can't wait. But today, I would like to start by acknowledging that I am in Kingston, Ontario, that it's the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee territory. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are part of the 1783 treaty, that's the Crawford Purchase, which was with the Mohawks of Bay of Quinte. They issued the majority of the land, but issued some of it back a year later in support of their Revolutionary War. So I learned that for this presentation because I'm always trying to challenge myself and learning more. There we go. Okay. Went advancing the slide. So today I'm going to just talk about what we're doing at SLC. The global perspective, I'm going to bring in the SDGs, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, our plan, the intro to our greenhouse reduction roadmap. It's in the preliminary stages at this point in time. However, the plan, as Shannon said, has been passed. And I'd like to acknowledge as well that that is a culmination of many humans at St. Lawrence College work to pull it all together, and all of us working together to really continue to advance it. So As Shannon said, I am part of the facility management team, but my job is really about breaking down silos and bringing people together at this time, right? Especially in COVID. That's been my main focus, and it kind of makes it easier right now when we have some more time. And my main theory of COVID is respond, recover, reset, and it's like a revolving 3 R's. It should just be keep, because we've got to fly with it. We just roll with it. Okay, so getting into the structure. How did we come up with our structure of sustainability at St. Lawrence College? Because it's a very broad. Our definition of sustainability includes elements of economics, environment, and social. So we really tie in all of those things, and you can see, hopefully you can see the things on the wheel here, but I'll break it down, how all of these elements are terribly interconnected, and if one is not there, we aren't able to advance our goal as a higher educational institution. So we use ASHE, the Association for Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education, for our framework to be able to track, compare, and collaborate with other colleges, universities, and we utilize their tracking system. So they use something called STARS. It's very cool. You can go onto their website. You can look at my report, or the college's report. I submitted it, but you can see other colleges and universities. You can really compare apples to apples and see how we're really working together to try to advance things. And in Ontario, I'm a member of it's called OCUSP, so I'll plug OCUSP. It's the Ontario Sustainability Professionals, and we work all together. So we have members from Queens, we have members from all over Ontario, working together to share information, advance things where we can. So this gives a structure for our role as an educational organization and as an organization as a whole. So we have elements in our operations, our planning, our community, and our people. And of course, our programs is a huge part of what we do. I would like to just draw attention to the college's SLC in 5, which gives our overall structure and framework. My section is operational excellence, so it's to drive sustainability and improve in operations. There's some other elements in here as well, but this is kind of where I live. This is where I'm able to push things through. This is how we've been able to utilize the structure of ASHE and STARS to build our structure in our sustainability plan, and utilize that as our framework to keep moving forward, to keep advancing things. We are a bronze level ASHE member right now. By the end of the sustainability plan, by 2024, we have the goal to be gold. So there is a lot of things, moving cogs that are working behind the scenes all the time to work together. As Shannon said, with academics is a big one, and I'll talk about that. But it is definitely a huge thing. I will be submitting this, I guess it's at the end of 2021. I'll be submitting our next one, and our goal is, it's our incremental one, and our goal is to have silver at that point. So hopefully, I'm sure we're going to get there. I have faith. So again, I mentioned at the start, this is our SLC's Venn diagram for how we think about and structure and try to apply this to multiple areas of what we're doing. So it's based around those United Nations sustainability goals. So we've got that economic, environmental, and social culture. So overlapping of environmental and economics, our efficient use of resources, economy and social. We've got social equity, environmental and social. We've got health and well-being. And then in that middle, and our sweet spot, that's our opportunity to apply sustainability and optimize our opportunities wherever we can. So I'll draw, so in 2015, the United Nations worked towards creating their Sustainable Development Goals. They're based on these 5 Ps of people, planet, prosperity, partnership, and peace. And this is what this turned into. There's 17 goals that we have utilized and are really trying to map our STARS structure, but also map the sustainability development goals, because they are easy to explain. They've done all of this work, this wonderful work, to categorize all of these elements that are required to advance sustainability. So we're using, I map my events. I'm just trying to basically map and draw attention to wherever I can to these goals. And we are trying to start to really try to incorporate them into our academics and wherever we can. So, and I'd like to just, before I move on, partnerships. I'd like to, Switch is a perfect example of SDG 17 and 16 too, because you help to build strong institutions, but you create and provide this avenue for us to all collaborate and come together on a regular basis. So thank you for being a longtime demonstrator of SDG 17. Again, I talked about mapping the SDGs. And just to try to bring that together as a visual for you, partnerships is a really big element of what I've been doing lately, as well as all the operational things as well. Of course, those have to happen. So getting into our sustainability plan, our operations, our programs, our people, our communities, and our planning are our subheadings. And I said it's our mapping from 2024, which I'm very excited that this plan is also, you can read our entire plan now on our SLC website. If you go to college, our documents and I think reports is the name of the subheading. You can see it's in there in the sustainability plan. We do have a sustainability page as well that does have a couple of videos and some different things that we're doing on campus on a regular basis. So to dive in, the first one, I'm just going to highlight a couple of things in each section of the plan. Again, you can read the whole one on our website. So quality education is the SDG that I align to in this area, and our programs. The main goal right now is to increase the focus on sustainability in all courses, and our goal is to have 20% of our courses to have some element of sustainability or be completely inclusive of sustainability by 2024. I'm really excited to see the work that has been done. We've done a lot of work with academics this year, so we're able to capture our exposures by our reports from our program coordinators each year. So I'm really excited to see that data that'll come in this year. Later, probably in July, we'll get that and see what our impact of the work that we've done this year. So, and really, our opportunities here are so immense when we're talking about exposure to our students. We have a huge opportunity to be change agents in this sector, right? We're able to get in contact with so many different folks. And interpersonal competencies, I'm not going to read that whole statement below, but just drawing to the points of those skills that are relevant to sustainable professionals, but also relevant to all professionals, is that compassion, empathy, gratitude, mindfulness, and other positive behaviors, they do result in higher productivity, loyalty, and improved coordination, leadership, and governance. So when we're working with our human resources department, we're really talking about how do we support our employees to gain these things, and also, of course, our students. How do we embed these things within and give those opportunities for our students to learn this and gain those competencies before they leave? And that's a huge opportunity to be able to influence our society as such. We have a huge role then, so is our whole sector. So that's why it's really important that we collaborate wherever we can and share information. So we also fit into the sustainable infrastructure in Canada because of the programs that we do have, the programs that Shannon leads, the energy systems programs that, yes, I did. I usually don't tell people that I graduated in 2008 because it sounds so long ago now. However, that is when I graduated. So there's the sustainable energy portion, which we have that opportunity through the energy system program, provides this skilled workforce and that overall innovation agenda that aligns with the measures from the Government of Canada, Ontario, and that was also taken from the We Forum publications, which is part of the World Economic Forum, a great resource too if you're looking for sustainable references for economy and not just environmental. It's a great source for folks to find some stuff. Next section, which is really huge, and you might bet from my talk already, I'm talking about our people very much. So fostering, the first goal for this section is to foster college-wide appreciation for the Sustainable Development Goals and find those opportunities to improve diversity and equity on campus. I am super proud that we do have we call it our EDI committee. It's Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. ACTA is our leader there. It's been an amazing road that they've taken over this period of COVID. We've had that opportunity to still engage with our members virtually, and they've gotten a lot of feedback and had some great information sessions just to help advance that. And I'm really excited. They are launching their recommendations at our upcoming, the college has exposure to our employees, it's their Learning Connections conference, so they're going to be launching some of their recommendations there. The next one is to have an active sustainability information advisory team. We're collecting our members now. I'm going to be reaching out to students to try to get their membership, and we are really excited to really launch that and then start to have maybe subcommittees, things like that, working and doing and really, rapid firing, advancing our agenda here. And of course, keeping our employees engaged. We have been able to do some different things. Of course, normally we're in person and we can do some different things, but social media has still allowed us to engage with folks there as well. So we really try to reduce inequalities there, and I'm really excited. So there is some ongoing information on our website for that. This is the section I'm sure most folks are interested here in this talk is our operations. So you can see there's a lot longer list of things that we need to achieve to meet our goals for 2024. But we have set a target to be zero carbon emissions by 2050. So that aligns with the federal government and our municipality. Actually, I think the municipality is a little bit more, I think it's 2040 actually there. Anyways, I'm not going to speak on that because I'm not sure. We have goals to increase sustainable and active transportation options. So coming soon, we are going to have some expansions to our sustainable energy vehicle charging. We do have on our Kingston campus, we've got a really cool secured bike covered system. Not many folks have been able to use it due to COVID. However, we're really excited to be able to get that moving and really keep advancing that. We have a goal to divert 70% of our organic waste from landfills by 2024. Also, all kind of waste, so recycling as well, different category, but same target is 70% by 2024 from landfills. So right now we're at 48% diversion from landfills. This is actually based on 2019 data because obviously 2020 data is a bit skewed and doesn't give me a good picture. While I do have we did some micro audits, we weren't able to really gain the full campus, but we do divert 51% of our organic materials from landfills already. So we're almost there. I've been working over this period on marketing, signage, looking at how we can continue to advance that. We've done some pilot programs in our Brockville residence where we have students that have the opportunity to be able to cook in their kitchens. So did some research. We need some kinks. We've got some kinks, but we're going to work them out and keep working at trying to support our students to be able to have sustainable options. We promote plant-based food options. the Climate Champs here, it's the I Am the Climate Champions. It's a really cool project that we've been partnering with our Center for Behavioral Studies, the faculty. We have opportunities to promote plant-based food, also energy conservation in our residents in Kingston. Both projects have been delayed, obviously, to COVID because we just don't have as much opportunity and funding. But this is a really cool, I'm not going to do it justice because the folks from behavioral studies, the faculty, they do it way better, but it's really looking at how can we use the theories of behavioral psychology to use for the betterment of our climate. So how can we use their theories to influence folks? Yeah. So, and the SDGs there's more that align with this, but not to make this slide too busy, I just left that. The other one in this section, which again, you folks are probably the most interested in, is what we're doing for our climate action. And so this data and wheel here is part of that roadmap that we are creating. So we do have some information on scope 3, but I didn't include it in this because it's incomplete. But our scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, our baseline is 2010, our 2030 reductions. You can see we move from the on-site production and to off-site production. So our scope 3, the electrical production. So we're looking at increasing that because part of our long-term plan is that electrification of our heating systems. So really it's looking at those things and identifying our risks and in that area. Our goal, again, carbon neutrality by 2050. There is still, even with this roadmap, and I'm sure many folks working in this sector trying to advance energy efficiency and reduction of greenhouse gases in their institutions, when you're talking about that long-term goal, we still have gaps in our technology. We do have some great technology that we can apply now, but there is still gaps to get us to that carbon neutrality. Right now, it looks like in our plan, we still have about 1,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions that when we get to that later date that we are still gonna have to figure out, account for, whether it's, and some of that is the fluctuation unknown of the electrical generation from our electrical grid, where we draw from. So there's a lot of moving cogs in that. So, but in our long-term plans, looking like the 4 elements that we are going to need is that energy conservation and continued demand management, space optimization, and zero carbon buildings. Very cool. We are at the early stages of designing a possible new building on our campus that the goal is to be zero carbon. We were in the design charrette last week, and so there was a lot of great talk about sustainability, and I was super impressed with all of the folks that were just fluent in what we need to talk about, and even in ecology and looking at opportunities to tackle climate change from the naturalization of spaces as well, not just our greenhouse gas emission reductions. Renewable energy obviously is a key part. We have been leaders in that sector with our energy systems programs. We do have examples of fit systems on our Kingston and Brockville campuses. And then of course we've got some learning opportunities that we have at all of our campuses. Or sorry, in our Kingston campus. The next 2 sections, I'm almost finished. I don't know if my time is almost up. I tend to be long-winded. I limited the number of slides that I have, but our planning is really to continue to track and provide annual comprehensive plans and mapping and tracking our sustainability. And of course, that element of financial sustainability, we're super lucky at our college that we've been able to weather COVID quite nicely. Well, I won't say quite nicely, but we have been able to weather it because we have had that financial security. And our communities is the last section. So increase partnerships and collaborations wherever we can. Some examples here, this picture of the students with the yellow signs, that's actually about a week before COVID hit, and that was the start of our climate champs for our plant-based increasing and trying to advance and improve and increase plant-based purchases within our cafeteria. But of course that got delayed. We usually are out in the communities doing our cleanups. That's a bit delayed. And we're usually out in the communities doing electrical recycling of electronics. We haven't been able to do that this year either, but we have been working. I've been able to align with Queens, and I'm on some subcommittees there. And we've got some really cool collaborations coming up that I'm really excited about. Other thing, because we're all energy nerds here, I just pulled some data from our energy profile. This is just Kingston campus, and while it does show on peak, we don't pay those. We are not in that. We're a class B client. So, but this is how the information in the data is relayed in that software. But it gives you just the peak of the impact of when we closed. We basically, our demand and our consumption was dropped in half when COVID hit, when it was completely closed, but it has also given us that opportunity and viewpoint of the impact of working with space optimization. And so that's been a really interesting concept, and going forward as we look at our return to campus, how do we do that? And opportunities to use space optimization to continue to reduce our energy consumption wherever we can. That is, I don't know if I did overtime. Sorry, Ted, if I did, or Shannon.
Brooke, you're very
yes.
close, so that's fine. We do have a question just on the chat, and it's from Ted, and it's, as you know, organics diversion away from landfills is hard for ICI sector and apartment buildings. Does SLC have any plan to lead the way and pilot ideas that other institutions can copy?
That's a great question, Ted. I guess the pilot, you know, it's a hard thing to look at, but I think there is some opportunity. Even I've talked to a couple of restaurant owners in town, and there's the will. I just don't think there's the way yet of wanting to collaborate. If there was a consortium or some sort of networking group that could work together to have a bulk purchase for those kinds of pickups, I think there's a really great opportunity. I know I've had chats with the owners of Tango downtown, and they've been talking, and they're really they are doing everything they possibly can. They're using TerraCycle, which is it over and above sort of diversion process to keep things out of the landfills. So I think there is some opportunity there. I guess I don't know if our institution could lead all of the ICI sector, but we do have, I think there is some great examples in the college and university sector that we can see other institutions that have achieved, you know, those higher levels of a circular economy, zero waste, it got to those levels. So I think there maybe not in all of the ICI, but definitely in the educational institutions.
Okay, thank you. There's another one from Gavin. Your last chart referred to energy profile. Did it include heating energy or just electricity load?
Yeah, good question. Sorry, that's just electricity load. I did not include natural gas. It's not the equivalent, just electricity.
Okay. And if you stop sharing your screen, then we might be able to see everybody's, they might be able to put a hands up and just ask a verbal question. There you go.
Thank you, sorry.
No worries. Ted, I think, has another one.
Yeah, Brooke, I wanted to ask about the residences associated with St. Lawrence College. And did your presentation include, like when you say St. Lawrence College, it includes all the residence buildings? Right?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And that energy profile did, the last slide there did include the residence electrical consumption. We do have sub-meters within the building, but we actually just have 1 meter coming in. The residents are an interesting opportunity because we kind of do get to model an apartment sort of style living. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the Climate Champs project that we are piloting in the Kingston residence. We're able to install, so it's kind of, the heating system is kind of similar to hotels that the use. So we've got heat pumps on the walls that provide heating and cooling, little P-Tech units they're called, and they're electrical. There's no natural gas in them. We do have natural gas in our corridors for space heating, just reheating. But most of the heating in our residents, especially in Kingston, come from these electrical consumptions. So a lot of our load is electrical in those spaces. So we were able to get the funds to install 17 new high efficiency heat pumps with a little bit more performance, a higher COP in those colder temperatures. And associated with all of those, we were able to install some smart technology. So in each of those 17 rooms, we've got some occupancy sensors, some light sensors. I also have a really cool thing, because the number one thing that I see, and it was started this project, was me complaining about seeing windows open in the residence. So in the upper floors, you'd see windows open all the time, students being too hot, too cold, maybe forgetting about it. So I have a contact switch actually on the window now. So if those windows are open, we get an alarm, an alert that notifies us that that window's open, and the heating will actually cut to, but it will kick back in we've got a safety in there. So I can actually see that, I can send communications. So the goal there was to really look at what our impact could be on those in that section, to have that micro data, but then also seeing how those same behavioral things could affect each floor. The lack there, we just ran out of funds in our operations to be able to install the sub-metering at each floor. So, but we'll get there. It's undelayed.
Great, thanks. We have another question from Harriet. Have you, St. Lawrence College or Brooke, heard of the well health system used by Brookfield?
The well health, is that what it was?
Yes.
I don't know if I've heard of it. I'm happy to learn more if you want to share information, Harriet.
Well, it's just they advertise a lot on CNN, and they've got spokespeople like Robert De Niro who don't generally put their name to things. And I guess it's like what you're doing at St. Lawrence. It's an integrated system of air, water, healthy buildings, which Helene would know a lot about, and I guess most people here. I don't know if there's a fee or a cost or whatever. I was just curious because Brookfield Renewables use it in all their buildings. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's something like a LEED, but I was just curious.
I'll look it up. I haven't heard of that, but yeah, we definitely use LEED as our future standard for all buildings. And then we're also trying to use the carbon neutral standards as well for all future builds.
And there's one from Lucas. Are there any plans for fuel switching off natural gas to electrical for any of the campuses? If so, are any upstream electrical upgrades that need to be made for the additional capacity?
Most definitely, Lucas. That is the electrification of our natural gas that's our roadmap basically right now. So looking at any new buildings, opportunities to install heat pumps to offset. So there's a little bit more electrical load there. When we do that, it would be in a major renovation is kind of when we would take that opportunity to do those deep sort of changes and any I'm not aware, like I'm not sure if you're talking about like at line level like upgrade capacity, but at that time we would probably upgrade any electrical panel. Any work that we have done in our yellow wing, the new construction that we've done that is going to be LEED some level certified soon. We took that opportunity to make sure we had that more width and opportunity. The building is actually solar ready, so that we do have the opportunity to increase our renewable energy in that building for sure too.
Great.
Just to hand up. Oh, sorry, Lucas. Did you have a?
Yeah, the reason I brought that up is because electrification obviously is one of the great ways of reducing greenhouse gas emissions from point sources if you're switching off of natural gas, right? But with the amount of buildings that SLC has and other organizations like Queens, and for me specifically the base, the amount of demand that we're going to be asking if we were to switch over overnight is way more than our current local transformers can handle, or that Utilities Kingston and the IESO can currently provide us. So it's something that we're working through, and I was wondering if there was progress on that side. As for just like incoming power, do you have enough?
Right. It's definitely on our radar, has been identified as one of the potential risks, as well as the financial implications, right? So if we're importing power, how much is that going to cost us in an electrical grid from elsewhere if our grid isn't able to meet up with the demands? So again, it's a definite, for sure, it's on my radar. I attend the ISO meetings and things. I listen.
Okay, and Spencer, you had your hand up? You may need to unmute. Yeah.
I wonder if you could quickly talk about what you are, sorry, I'm having a hard time asking this question. Dealings with environmental impacts and or heritage society, wildlife fund kind of people. I was just reading an interesting article about deep sea mining, where there's almost no life at all pulling up nodules to make batteries for electric cars mining, but they're, no, don't do it. Even though it's way more environmentally friendly. Do you have any pushback like that for the projects that you're doing, or is there any are there any education that you're giving to the students to help deal with that kind of stuff?
On that topic in particular, no. Like in the deep sea, if you're talking about that, we do have our environmental technician students that are on our Cornwall campus that really look at water ecology. And we have our Cornwall campus is actually located right on the St. Lawrence River. So they have the opportunity to really get in, embed themselves in what's happening. We have not, but it's within our plan to do some ecological assessments of our property, looking at natural spaces. Our projects, no, we haven't. Our properties aren't located in any of those high risk areas. We are on a brownfield where, I haven't encountered, except we do have a heritage building that we did. It's LEED certified. We renovated it, and so there was some, preservation that we had to deal with, and we found a well on site, so there was some delay. The original well, so we had to delay and cap that, but there had to be the assessment by the archaeological.
And Spencer, we do some in some of the programming that Brooke wouldn't be aware of, just within the academic programming, within our biotechnology, and a couple of other programs beyond the environmental technician, where we some of that is discussed and looked at, but nothing in detail, I think, of what you're suggesting. Ted, you had a comment. I didn't see it fully on the chat. And you're on mute.
Andrew should go first.
Okay, Andrew.
Oh, thanks, Ted. That you could have gone. Brooke, thanks a lot. This might be for both you and Shannon to speak to. I think it's awesome that the SDG framework is being used, but I'm unclear to exactly what SLC is doing. So is SLC executing on projects related to a specific SDG, and then at the end of the year, they measure their impact to that, for example, SDG 17 or something? Or is it more that it's just kind of like a holistic view of energy conservation and sustainability, and you're working towards these things and using the SDGs as kind of just a value system, but not really a metric or quantitative framework.
Awesome question. Slowly STARS is working at adapting the SDGs within their evaluation. My goal right now is to just provide more exposure. And at the end of the year, yes, so I do have a tracking sheet where like are my events. I'm tracking sort of like which SDG that one tackled or approached. And then within my tracking for my larger STARS, like the overall in all of our sections, I do have elements of the Sustainable Development Goals. In our Learning Connections conference, we're bringing in the Sustainable Development Goals in all of the workshops that folks can attend. They're mapped. This might be, not all folks know this. Shannon, you're probably the only other person that this is. So they're going to be mapped to the SDGs, to the topics. So we're gonna, so it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both of what you said, Andrew. It's yes, we will be using those SDGs as a structural framework as STARS includes them in our evaluation process, because STARS is what we use as our tracking and really solid advancement and tracking tool. But they're, like I said, they're working on, and there's the elements to the SDGs already exist. They just haven't provided the direct alignment yet.
Yeah, and we're hoping to have, I've been hoping to have the SDGs something more directly into our learning plans, which is what are delivered to students. But that's a big feat to move that forward, and we're always changing those anyway. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to do that. But I'm a small voice in that part of it, so we'll see how that goes forward.
I do have, Shannon, just so you know, it's not in this, it's in the deep details, but I do have, and it's within the STARS, is to really try to get a college-wide definition or learning outcome that can just be blanketed, and then boom, you've got it in every single.
But I think if we can map it to different things, because my goal has always been to have many colleges guarantee that when their students graduate, they are a something. And, you know, Centennial College, every student takes a cultural course and a couple of courses in that, and they're culturally aware of many things. I've always been pushing probably for 10 years now to be sustainability is what it, and because it fits into every course that we do, everything we learn should have a sustainable component to it, because I've always been, as Brooke put forth, you know, sustainability or is not, you know, the natural environment. It's not just carbon reduction. It's not net zero. It's not the building. It's not just renewable energy. It's everything. And I will, until the day I leave, will be pushing for that. So hopefully with Brooke and a few others, it will come to fruition.
I'm hoping.
Ted, you had a comment, and somebody else did here too.
My comment, it was not a comment so much as a question to everybody about what roles the Switch community could play locally, because over the next couple of decades, there's, I think one big theme is going to be switching from natural gas to electricity. And there's probably a lot of experience and best practices and ideas and all sorts of things that could be shared. And I'm just wondering if other people have that feeling too, that maybe there's a role for the community here to help each other move things along.
Yeah, I think there was Paul's unfortunately had to leave, but I was going to ask him to maybe comment on the city, because I mean, electrification is something that they're looking at as well. So it would be certainly something that could be looked into, a few things there. But if anybody else has a comment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Switch and Paul and the college and the university could have also a working group, like how is this, you know, how can it be done? How long will it take? What resources? Who's in charge? Blah, blah, blah. Because it's a monumental switch.
And even community energy projects. I know you've had, you know, those are you on your topics, but if there's a way just to keep that topic going, I think there's some opportunity there. Because as Lucas pointed out before, our electrical grid, you know, energy independence, I think that's a really cool topic right now as well.
Brooke, you mentioned about how when systems come up for renewal at St. Lawrence College, like a natural gas boiler that needs to be replaced, that hopefully, we can replace those systems with heat pumps. And that's what has to happen will happen throughout the whole community too over the next 25 years. So I think part of what Ted's referring to is, the electrification of heating and transportation is, of course, where we're headed. And it means that we really need policies at the municipal level where any heating plant in the city that's being replaced, there should be some sort of regulatory framework and funding mechanism so that plant can be replaced with a heat pump type system. And that's where we're heading. And so people like Paul McClatchy, I know he's not on the call anymore, but I think it's really important the city becomes highly aware throughout the whole organization that this is the way we're headed, and puts the policies and funding mechanisms in place to make that happen.
And there's a group of people that are doing just that. I think, Steve, with Lisa Asbrick and a few others that are sort of, not starting that conversation. They have started that conversation and are certainly pushing that forward. I'm just cognizant of the time here. There is Steve Isco has a question. Does SLC do any research into underwater St. Lawrence River turbines? You probably want me to answer that one, Brooke.
You go right ahead.
We do have the wind turbine technician program, Steve, at the college. We do not do right now anything with underwater, just because of the requirements that are required to do that. I'd need a pool on site and a few other things to do the training that's required. So we haven't done any work there, and we haven't, because we don't have the capability to do that type of training. We don't have the capability to do any of the research into the underwater. Unless you're just looking at a smaller underwater turbine for generating a few other things. We do have some of that capability, but we haven't done any research lately into it. Harriet?
Yeah, I just sent out a thing. I mean, Caitlin's still on, which is great. I was just going to say that not only Paul McClatchy, but Caitlin and the group at Utilities Kingston has got to be involved in electrification to validate, what the grid is capable of. As Steve is saying, we're replacing everything from fossil fuels to electrification. The grid has to be there with us.
Yeah. So I'm just going to take this to sort of our sector news briefs and collaboration opportunities, and at this time thank Brooke for answering all the questions and for her presentation. I did learn a few things that I didn't know, so that's very good. I made a couple of notes to talk to Brooke afterwards and go, what's this? Just so I'm aware. So thank you. I do know that after we do a few things that we do keep the Zoom call open, so if you can stay, depending on what the time is when we're done here. But I know a few people have left because they do have a couple of other meetings to go to, as do I. So we'll just move ahead with this, and then it can stay open if there's some more conversations or just conversations amongst yourselves that can go on. So with the sector news briefs and collaborations, do we have anything in bioenergy? Okay, electric vehicles. Spencer?
Many things. One quick one, Tesla has just outsold BMW worldwide. But there was a really interesting article in the Financial Post about an Aston Martin designer who's jumping ship because he's tired of making rich people's toys, and he's joining the Canadian Avro electric car project, which is really interesting. It's a conglomerate of electric car vehicle or auto industry parts makers that are making an electric car with a design from Carleton University students. It's a really fascinating article quoting the Dalai Lama and a bunch of other things. Obviously it's very sexy because it's Aston Martin. He worked on the James Bond Aston Martin movie car.
Okay, thank you. Solar? Tatiana?
Solar, the Green Inclusive Building Funding Program. I just posted it in the chat. GICB and all community arenas, money for solar. If we don't bring this money into our community, I quit on this planet. This is such an opportunity for us to get this money into our community. Otter Energy is going to anybody who qualifies for it. They're doing so much free engineering for you. Please take advantage of me. Call me. I've put the links in the side, and I've shared sort of the base who qualifies for that funding program. It's a federal program. So think community arenas, recreation centers, youth centers, anything Indigenous. It's such an opportunity for our Indigenous community here. I would love an email or a name of anybody to connect. So please send me that information. I've put my contact stuff up.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Fuel cell? Transportation?
I just found my
Okay, Carol, sorry.
I can say a few things. First of all, when I mentioned the Apple data plant that was using fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells, I found more information about it, and I thought the solar panel people would love to know that in addition, there are 300 acres of solar panels that were fueling that plant. I just Googled it because I finally found the actual name of it. It's in Maiden, North Carolina, and it's been there for a number of years, but according to the website, it is now permanently closed. And I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. Just why has it closed? And the other thing is that the leader of Honda, the chief executive officer, gave an address the end of April 23rd. He claims that by 1850, all Hondas will be either battery or electric or fuel cell. And then in his actual speech, I found the note about that prediction in the Globe and Mail on a couple of Saturdays ago, a little tiny note way down in the corner of an interior page after all the oil news. And I Googled Honda website, got the whole speech. Hydrogen figures very prominently in that speech. And I thought maybe you might, especially the car people here, might be interested in that. And also, Apple has apparently just applied for a hydrogen battery patent, and it's for their computers. I gather the really small technology that Apple makes. Anyway, that's all that I have to say.
Great, thank you, Carol. Wind? Geothermal? Water power? I'm just going through the areas. Education? We're moving along. Conservation? Green building? Collaborations? Oh, I've got some people with hands raised. Michael?
It's a question actually about geothermal. I've been told that gaining access to backyards to put in geothermal projects will be severely constrained by access. So that would require a downsizing of the geothermal equipment. Does anybody have any insights into that, or who could I follow up with?
I might be able to provide you a link. I used to sit on the national, it's a geothermal group that was national wide. It's not in existence right now just due to politics, but I could maybe provide you with some information there. I'll give you a name, Ted Kantorowicz, which might be able to help you out there.
Thank you. And if I may give you an email on this?
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Shannon.
Yep. And then I can provide you with some information.
Great.
Anybody else? That's sort of all. We had some sustainable energy issues in our presentation. So I have gone through all of sort of sector news briefs. Is there anything that anybody else would like to comment on or say? Tatiana, you still have your hand up. Did you have anything else? Nope. I just got to flip my screen to make sure I can see everyone. I don't see anything. Nothing else for general comments or questions? Does anybody have any more questions for Brooke? Just before we go on, some of the news coming up. June 4th, our open meeting is Dave Rowade, which from the City of Kingston, talking about the home energy retrofit program and the pending green standard for new construction commercial. So some of the questions and comments that we had today, we might get some answers from there, or Dave may be here to answer some of our questions. On June 25th, we're going to have one of the hydro working group workshop series. And on July 9th, our open speaker is Steve Satil, who's the energy manager for Canopy Grow. I believe he was, we're not fully confirmed on that one, but that's our plan moving forward. And he was once a very active board member of Switch, having, I think, been in every role on the executive committee, from treasurer, secretary, chair, vice chair. So we're looking forward to having him back. Is there anything else? I don't see any hands or questions. Ted, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'll just, so I'll, as usual, I'll leave the Zoom meeting going until everybody leaves, or 10 o'clock, whichever comes earlier. And so feel free to chat or network, either face-to-face or over the chat.
And I think Brooke is still on. So if anybody has, any questions for her, I think that she is available to answer questions if required. Oh, there she is. Okay, unfortunately, I too have to leave because I do have another meeting to go to. But I do appreciate everybody showing up today and listening to Brooke, because I think some of the things that St. Lawrence College is doing are fabulous. Actually, all the things they're doing are fabulous, not just some. But thanks for attending today. And I'm going to have to leave. But as Ted said, this is open to anybody that wants to carry on and have some questions.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, everybody. Amazing. So cool to see.
So Spencer, what do you make of the Japanese automakers' approach to electrification? Seems like they're stuck in the past.
Toyota had 4 pension funds say, we're out of here unless you electrify. So yes, they're very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. They're going to be left in the dust by China and Tesla.
Yes, big time, big time. And then even GM and all the legacy people, they're especially during the pandemic, like ICE sales fell off a cliff. But because of the contactless nature of electric vehicle sales, they went up. But
it was quite heartening to see that graph where Tesla is outselling everybody in their sector, including BMW.
Yeah. The interesting thing about with Tesla is that they're going to lose one of their big carbon credit buyers. Fiat had been, like, a lot of Tesla's profit was coming from buying credits or selling credits to Fiat, but now that they're part of that big group, so it's very, very interesting times. It's like just listening to a podcast about buying a used car. Tesla's anomaly, it still holds quite a bit of a high resale value, but there's so many choices now in new, so that slowly trickling down to the used market. So yeah.
as you watch the news in the sector, it's sort of like every week there seems to be a wonderful new car, and the technology is just creeping upwards in sophistication and efficiency and range and charging speed. It just, you know, it took a long time to get the internal combustion engine cars sorted out, and the electric vehicles are climbing that curve, you know, because of our technical infrastructure so much faster.
And a lot of the like when Tesla brings out a new model, or you know, back in the day, the pre-orders are huge. You know, the Ionics and the Hyundai Ioniq and the ID4 and ID5. They had a live in-person car show in China, in Shanghai, and there's just the number of cars coming out of China too that's coming nowhere. I'm not a big proponent of giving that kind of thing, you know, oxygen. You know, NHL hockey sticks came from Wuhan, China. That something is very disturbing about that. So you know, I'd love to buy a cheap electric car from China, but I'd also, you know, I want North America to be to have skin in the game, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the world has learned that if you move manufacturing offshore, eventually you're moving the expertise and the ability to do it, and you know, your brand is not going to be the one that survives.
And it's not actually cheaper. It's
when I was a kid, you know, all the TV brands were you know, North American, and of course they thought, hey, we can get this cheap labor in Asia, and they moved manufacturing offshore, and look at where the North American TV manufacturing business is now. It's non-existent, essentially.
No, it was an hour east of here. Yeah. I actually bought a TV from Thompson in Prescott. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I have to press on.
Cheerio.
Sure. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ted.